You can draw this in Procreate. During this step-by-step Procreate tutorial, I will guide you through the steps of creating this paper cutout effect. I will show you how you can add shadow to create this realistic layered effect. You'll learn about managing your layers and creating these fun paper cutout trees. We're using a lot of layers during this tutorial, so if you run out of layer space, I would suggest creating less hills for this paper cutout effect or making your canvas smaller. I'm working on a canvas that is 2500 pixels by 2500 pixels, but going for 1500 by 1500 would work as well, for instance. Once you have reached the end of the tutorial, it would be great if you would share your work, because I always enjoy scrolling through your unique artworks. Oh, and by the way, I have linked a color palette in the description. It's totally free. And then if you're ready, let's get started. We'll start off by dropping in a color for our background. We'll pick this one over here, 5th color in the first row. Let's drag it on there. And then we'll make a new layer on top of this. So we'll go to the layer menu, then we'll tap the plus. And then for our brush, we'll grab the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. And for our color, we'll grab this one over here. A white color, 6th color in the second row. Now the opacity of your brush needs to be at 100%. I have my size at 10%, but it doesn't really matter as long as you create a circle like this. Then hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. Then go to the Move and Transform tool by going to this little arrow. Make sure that snapping is turned on, and then place your circle in the exact center. You'll see the exact center by checking out the vertical and horizontal orange line. Then let go, then go back by tapping the arrow again, and then we'll fill the area around the circle. Then we'll create a layer underneath this. So we'll go to layer 1 and then tap the plus. And then for our color, we'll grab this one over here. That's the 4th color in the first row. And then let's go to the selection tool, the S-shaped ribbon, set it to rectangle and turn on color fill. And then we'll make a selection like this and go all the way to about here. Then we'll go to our layer menu and duplicate this layer. You can do that by sliding to the left, tapping duplicate, then go to that bottom layer and we'll fill that with our white, our 6th color in the second row. Let's drag it on there. You won't be able to see anything, but when you go to your layer menu, you'll see that that's very light. Then we'll go back to the Move and Transform tool and then tap a couple of times right above this box. Then tap the arrow again and you'll see a slight white line. Then let's go and duplicate this layer once more. Let's slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the bottom one. Then we'll grab this color over here, 6th color in the first row. Then we'll go back to the layer, we'll tap the N and scroll up to multiply to create a shadow. Then we'll go to the magic wand, use Gaussian blur, and slide to the right to create a slight little shadow. Let's go for 9%. Now let's go back to the layer menu and let's slide to the right on these 3 layers. And now we are going to duplicate these, but let's first group them. We'll tap group. Let's close this group, slide to the left and tap duplicate. Now while we have this top group selected, we'll go to the Move and Transform tool and slide this down slightly to about here. Now we are going to duplicate this again. So we'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, then open this group, and then I want to change the color of this layer. We'll switch to this color, the 3rd color in the first row, drag it on there, and then make sure you select the entire group, go to the Move and Transform tool, and slide this down. We are going to create these layers of paper. Then we are going to duplicate this group. So we'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, then to the Move and Transform tool and move this one down. Now let's go back to the layer menu. To save layer space, we can actually merge these groups together, like the bottom one with these groups. And now we can duplicate this one again. Slide to the left, tap duplicate, Then let's change the color. We'll go to this top layer again, and then we'll grab the second color in the first row. Let's drag it on there. Then make sure to select the entire group again. Then go to the Move and Transform tool. And let's place it about here. You don't need to have the same distance between these layers of paper. You can play around with that. Then let's go back to the layer menu. Let's close this group and duplicate it by sliding to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the Move and Transform tool and move this one down. Then we'll duplicate it again, and if you need to save layer space, then you can merge these bottom ones together. Then duplicate this one, slide to the left, tap duplicate, open the layer menu or the layer group, then select this layer and go to the next color. First color in the first row, we'll drag it on there. Then we need to select the entire group again, go to the Move and Transform tool and move this down. And then let's do this once more. Let's duplicate this group, then go to the Move and Transform tool and move this downward. Then tap the arrow and you'll have something like this. Once you're happy, you can merge all of these layers together. Just don't merge it with the top one. Let's first close these groups, then merge this together, and then we'll make a new layer on top of this. We'll tap the plus, and then for our color, we'll grab this one, third color in the first row. And for our brush, well, we can stick with that monoline brush. And I just want to create two hill shapes. We'll create a curve like this, and then another one like this. Then make sure that the line goes all the way to the side, and then drag in the color underneath. Now let's create a paper effect for this layer as well. So first we'll duplicate it by sliding to the left, then go to the bottom layer and fill that with the light color, sixth color in the second row. Drag that underneath, then go to the Move and Transform tool and tap a couple of times on top. And now we need to create that shadow. We need to duplicate this layer again by sliding to the left, tap duplicate, go to the bottom one. Then we need to fill that with this color, sixth color in the first row, drag it on there. Then we'll go to the layer menu, tap the N and scroll up to multiply again. Then go to the magic wand and to Gaussian blur, slide to the right to about, let's say 9%, then go to the Move and Transform tool and move this slightly to the right. And you can use these taps to very gently move it around until you have something like this. Then tap the arrow. Now we are going to create a sun, and we'll do that underneath these layers. So first we'll tap this one, then we'll tap the plus, then we'll grab this color, third color in the second row, and we are going to create a circle again. So draw a circle, hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen for a perfectly round circle. Something like this. Let's drag in the color, then go to the Move and Transform tool and place it a bit lower. I think this looks nice. Then for the paper effect, we are going to duplicate this layer again. We'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to that bottom one. Then we need that sixth color in the second row again. Drag that onto the shape. Then go to the Move and Transform tool and tap upward and to the left a little bit so we have a nice light edge on this left area. Then we need a shadow again. So let's duplicate this layer, then tap the bottom one. Then for the color, I'd like to use this one, first color in the third row. Let's drag it on there. Then we need to go to the layer menu, tap the N, set it to multiply, and then we need to blur it again. So we'll go to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, slide to the right to about 8%, then go to the Move and Transform tool and move it to the right a bit. Or you can just move it like this, but that's a bit too much. You can turn off snapping so it doesn't, well, snap. Place it about here. Then we are going to duplicate these layers. So we'll go to the layer menu. Let's Group these by sliding to the right so that they're all blue. Then we'll tap Group, close this group, slide to the left, tap Duplicate. Then we'll make this one smaller. We'll go to the Move and Transform tool. Make sure you have it set to uniform, and then use the handle to make this smaller. So we have another layer of paper here. Let's go for something like this, maybe a little bit lower. Then let's duplicate this again. We'll slide to the left, tap Duplicate. Then we need to change the color of the top paper layer. We'll grab this fourth color in the second row. We'll drag it on there. Then we need to select the entire group, go to the Move and Transform tool, and make this even smaller. I think we can go for something like this. And while we're at it, we can actually merge the sun layers, these bottom ones, with our background layer. Let's pinch these together and then duplicate this once more. Let's slide to the left, tap Duplicate, and then change the top color. Let's give it this fifth color in the second row. Let's drag it on there. Then we need to select the entire group, go to the Move and Transform tool, and make this smaller. I think this looks nice. Then tap the arrow, and if you're happy with how these look, then you can just merge them all together with the bottom. You can also merge these, so you can go from this layer 3 all the way to the bottom, as long as you leave this circle layer alone. Let's pinch these together. And now let's start adding some more hill shapes. Let's tap the plus, and let's start by adding this color. Fourth color in the first row. Now we'll make another hill shape. Let's start all the way on the left, and then make a shape like this. Then drag in the color. And now let's continue adding layers with hills with multiple colors. So tap the plus, and you can add as many as you like, of course. I'll go for this fifth color in the first row. You don't have to copy me exactly, just make some wavy shapes. Just make sure that you go from all the way to the left to all the way to the right. I'll make another layer, tap the plus, and play around with the colors. I'll also use this one over here, first color in the second row, and make more hill shapes. I'll make another layer, tap the plus, then let's grab another color. Let's use this light one over here, second color in the first row. Make another wavy shape. Back to the layer menu, tap the plus, and it might be that you have some constrictions that you can't make as many layers as I am able to make. So you can just make less hills. In that case, you can just make less hills. I'll also grab this first color in the first row for a light hill. Then tap the plus for another layer. I'll use this one again, first color in the second row for another green hill over here. And you can continue until you have something like this, for instance. The next step is to add that light edge for all of these hill shapes. So you need to go to your layer menu. Here I have all my hills, and for each of these hills, slide to the left, tap Duplicate, then go to the bottom layer, grab that light color, sixth color in the second row, drag that in there, then go to the Move and Transform tool, and then tap up a few times so you get that light edge. So just do that for each of these layers. So this is the next one, slide to the left, tap Duplicate, go to the bottom one, drag in the color, go to the Move and Transform tool, and tap up a few times. So once you have done that for all of these layers, it'll look like this. So there we have our hills. Now they all need shadows. So we'll have to duplicate each light layer that we have. So we have an entire list of hills. Like I said, if your iPad can't handle a lot of layers, make less hills or make your canvas a little bit smaller. So duplicate the light layer, slide to the left, tap Duplicate, go to the bottom one, and then drag in that sixth color in the first row. Then for each of these layers, you need to set them to multiply by tapping the N and scrolling up to multiply. Then go to the magic wand to Gaussian blur and slide to 7 or 8%. Then tap the magic wand again and repeat this step for every single hill layer. Now to organize things a bit, let's merge all those white layers with the ones on top. So these match up, and these two match up, and these, and these. So all the colored layers with the light layers. Just don't merge them with those multiply layers. We have these and these. So now you should have a normal layer, a colored layer with a multiply layer underneath for each of these hill layers. Now we are going to select all of those multiply layers. So you can do that by sliding to the right on those multiply layers. So you should be skipping one layer each time. So now we have them all selected. Now we can go to the Move and Transform tool and slightly move them to the right. You can also move them slightly upward to get this paper effect. Then tap the arrow to get out of here. Next, we are going to add some trees, and I want to place them in between these layers of paper, but I don't want to go too far to the back. So we can merge a few layers in the back. Let's merge them up until this layer. Layer 5, that's this green one over here. We can pinch them together with our background layer. So you can only merge those hill layers that you don't want to put anything in between anymore. So just the ones far in the back, don't merge anything else. If you are enjoying this tutorial so far, then I would suggest checking out my Patreon page. It's a great way to support this channel and to get access to a whole lot more Procreate tutorials. They have a wide variety of difficulty levels, subjects, and painting techniques, so I'm sure there's something that you'll like. Now for our trees, let's make a new layer on top of all the others. Well, not on top of this one. Let's just go here, tap the plus, and then we'll go to the wrench, then to Canvas, and we'll turn on Drawing Guide, then go to Edit Drawing Guide, and set it to Symmetry. Then we'll tap Done, and then when you go to your layer menu, you will see that this is assisted, which means that whatever we draw on the left side, it'll also show up on the right side. Now I just want to be able to see the tree that we're creating. I don't want to see all these layers, so we can tap and hold this check mark to just turn on this layer. Now for our color, let's grab this one. That's the fourth color in the third row. And for our brush, let's go to the inking brushes and use the studio pen. The opacity should be at 100%. I have my size set to 10%. And now we are going to create a simple tree shape. Let's start here and make a shape like this, which gets smaller at the top. Maybe a little bit bigger here at the bottom. And then here a little tree trunk. Then drag in the color. Maybe we can make it a bit more rounded here. I think this looks good. Now I want to make 1/2 lighter. We'll go to the selection tool, the S shape ribbon, set it to rectangle, but we'll turn off color fill. Then select this left side. Then we'll go to the brushes. Let's grab the soft brush under airbrushing. And let's grab this third color in the third row. Let's make sure we set the opacity to 100%, the size at 7, and then let's turn on alpha lock on this layer. We'll tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, and then we'll tap it again and make sure that drawing assist is turned off. We don't need that anymore. And now let's lighten up this left side. I also want a nice light edge for our paper. So let's go to the inking brushes again for the studio pen and then grab the light color, 6th color in the second row. And let's make a light edge where the fold is. And let's also add a little light edge. Can't really see it right now, but a light edge over here. Now let's turn the selection off and also add a little bit of light on some areas here. Maybe a little bit over here. Let's turn on all the other layers. We can tap and hold this check mark so it's easier to see what we're doing here. Adding a little bit of that paper effect. So now we have our little tree. Let's go to the layer menu and let's duplicate this. Let's slide to the left, tap duplicate so we can make multiple trees. And let's go to the bottom. Let's go to maybe this layer. Yeah, I think that's nice. Then let's go to the move and transform tool. And we can place this in between here. While you have it set to uniform, you can play around with the size. And we can grab that other tree as well. Let's move that to the same area. Let's go to the move and transform tool. Let's place this one over here. We'll make it smaller. Then let's duplicate it by going to the layer menu, slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the move and transform tool and add another tree over here. And let's duplicate this one once more, slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the move and transform tool, and let's place another one over here. Then go to the layer menu, pinch these together, then slide to the left, tap duplicate, tap the bottom layer, and then let's grab our shadow color. Let's grab this one, 6th color in the first row, then go back to the layer menu, tap this layer and use fill layer, then tap the N, scroll up to multiply, then tap the layer again to turn off alpha lock so we will be able to blur it. We'll go to the magic wand, Gaussian blur, slide to the right. Let's go for like 9%. Then go to the move and transform tool and move it to the right and slightly downward. And then tap the arrow again. Now we can start saving some layer space again. I want to merge the layers from this one all the way to the bottom. I want to make some other trees, but they will be on top of this hill layer, in front of this hill layer. So then we can merge these together. Next, I'd like to create another type of tree. And let's do that at the top here. Let's tap the plus. And let's tap and hold that check mark again so we don't get distracted by anything else. Now for the color, let's use this one, 5th color in the 3rd row. For our brush, we'll use the studio pen. And we also need that symmetry. So let's tap that layer, turn on drawing assist, and then we'll create a pointy shape. We'll go for something like this. And then we need to make a curve to the center. And of course you can adjust it a little bit. You can tap and hold the eraser to make it switch to that studio pen. Make the top more pointy, for instance. But this should be the base shape. Now we are going to duplicate this layer. We'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the bottom one. And for the color, we'll grab this one, 6th color in the 3rd row. Let's drag it onto that shape. You won't be able to see it, but when you go to your layer menu, you will see it. Then we'll go to the move and transform tool, set it to warp, and then we are going to pull here and pull it downward. So it'll end up looking something like this. Then tap the arrow again. Then we are going to use the trick with the selection tool again. But first we need to go to this layer. Let's turn off drawing assist and turn on alpha lock. Then we'll go to the selection tool and select this right side. Then we'll grab the soft brush under airbrushing with that dark color. And then let's lower the opacity a bit to 70%. And then let's add some shadow to this side along this edge of the selection. Then turn off the selection and let's also add a light edge for that paper look. So we'll go to the inking brushes again and use the studio pen. And for the color, we'll grab the 6th color in the 2nd row. And let's turn on the other layers. So let's tap and hold here to turn all of the layers back on. And then let's add a slight little edge, just like this. And maybe a little bit on this side as well. Now we are going to turn this into a pine tree by duplicating these layers. And you can do that by selecting both of these like this and then dragging them onto the canvas, and then you'll get a duplicate like this. But let's just drag this on top again. We'll drag this dark one underneath the others. So these will be a group. Then go to the top one of these two and also select the top dark one by sliding to the right. So you need to select both of these. Then go to the Move and Transform tool. Let's turn snapping back on. Then move this upward and make it a little bit smaller. Then let's go to the layer menu, tap this bottom one of these two, tap the plus, set that new layer to clipping mask so that whatever we do, it'll only show up on the shape. Then we'll tap the N, scroll up to multiply, and we'll grab our soft brush and we'll grab a dark color. We'll grab this one, 6th color in the 3rd row, and we'll go over this top area to create a shadow. Then let's repeat these steps. So first we need to duplicate this one, slide to the left, tap duplicate, duplicate this one as well. You can do it like this or drag them onto your canvas. Then make sure you select both of these. So the top one of these dark ones and the top one of these lighter ones. Then go to the Move and Transform tool, move it upward, make it smaller. And then go back to the layer menu, go to this layer that is underneath our top one, tap the plus, set the new layer to clipping mask, tap the N, scroll up to multiply, and then use that soft brush to add a little bit of shadow here. And you can repeat this 2 more times. For instance, duplicate the top one of these and the top one of these, select them both, go to the Move and Transform tool, make it smaller, move it upwards. You can also use freeform here to slightly change the shape a bit, make it a bit more pointy. Then go back to the layer menu, go to this one that is underneath the top one, tap the plus, set the new layer to clipping mask, tap the N, scroll up to multiply, and then use the brush to add a bit of shadow. Then one more time, duplicate the top one here, duplicate the top one here, select both of them, go to the Move and Transform tool, move it up, make it a little bit smaller. Let's zoom in a little bit, make it a little bit smaller, make sure it's centered. Then go back to the layer menu, select the one that is underneath the top one, tap the plus, set it to clipping mask, tap the N, scroll up to multiply, and then with your brush, add that shadow. Then at the bottom, we need a tree trunk. So let's go all the way to the bottom to this layer. Then let's grab our inking brush, our studio pen, and with this color, we can create a line like this for a simple tree trunk. We can also add a little paper effect there. We can turn off Drawing Assist and then turn on Alpha Lock here. Then grab that light color, 6th color in the 2nd row. Let's go in here and add a light little line. So now we have another type of tree. Let's first turn off that vertical line. Let's go to Canvas, turn off the drawing guide. And once you're happy with this tree, you can actually merge those layers together. So let's go merge these and then these. Now we can start moving this around. I want to place one underneath this layer. So we'll go on top of our background layer. Let's duplicate it. Let's slide to the left, tap duplicate. I also want one right behind this area. But let's start by moving around this one. Let's go to the Move and Transform tool. Let's set it to uniform and let's turn off snapping. And let's place this one around here. Let's make it smaller. I think this is a nice spot. Then let's go to the other one over here. Let's go to the Move and Transform tool and place this one over here. Let's make it smaller. Now we can duplicate it again. Go to the Layer menu, slide to the left, tap Duplicate. Go to the Move and Transform tool. Let's place another one over here. And then let's go back to the Layer menu, duplicate this one again, slide to the left, tap Duplicate. Let's place this one underneath our top hill layer. Go to the Move and Transform tool. Let's make this one smaller. Maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe we can make that one a bit smaller. Let's go for something like this. Then let's go back to that one to make it a bit smaller. We'll tap this layer, go to the Move and Transform tool. Let's go for something like this. And then for the other one over here in the foreground, let's duplicate that again, slide to the left, tap Duplicate, go to the bottom one, then to the Move and Transform tool. Make this one smaller. And what you could also do is slightly change the color. Tap the arrow here. Once you're done moving it around, you can go to the magic wand, then to Use Saturation Brightness, and slightly play around with this. We can turn the hue to the left a bit. We can make it a little bit brighter, maybe a bit more saturated. So you have a slightly different color. Once you have a bunch of trees you're happy with, you can go back to the Layer menu, pinch the trees together that are close to each other, and then you need to duplicate those layers again and go to the bottom one, then fill that with that sixth color in the first row. So grab that color, then go back to the layer, tap it and use Fill Layer. Then you need to turn off Alpha Lock, go to the magic wand, use Gaussian Blur, slide it to around 8%, and also make sure that you set that layer blending mode to multiply. And then you can go to the Move and Transform tool and slightly move it to the right and downward. And tap the arrow again. Now let's do that for the other trees as well. So we'll duplicate this layer, go to the bottom one, make sure to set it to multiply, tap the layer again, use Fill Layer, then turn off Alpha Lock, go to the magic wand, use Gaussian Blur, slide to the right to around 8%, then go to the Move and Transform tool and move it downward and to the right slightly. Then let's go to this layer, slide to the left, tap Duplicate, go to the bottom one, tap the layer, use Fill Layer, set the layer blending mode to multiply, then turn off Alpha Lock by tapping the layer and turning off Alpha Lock. Go to the magic wand, Gaussian Blur, slide to the right to 8%, and go to the Move and Transform tool, and go down and to the right slightly. And then tap the arrow again. Next, let's add some clouds to our scene. We can actually merge all of these layers together. So we can start pinching these. Just make sure that this one will always remain at the top as a separate layer. Now let's tap the plus to start creating our clouds. Let's grab this color, sixth color in the second row. For our brush, we can use one of the calligraphy brushes, for instance, like the script brush. I have it set to 100% opacity. Let's set the size to 12%. And I will grab our selection tool again, the S shape ribbon, set it to rectangle with color fill turned off. I will make a rectangular selection like this. And then grab your brush and make these rounded shapes on top to create a simple cloud shape. And then you can drag in the color like this. Then you can turn off your selection and you have this perfect cloud shape. Then we'll go to the layer menu, tap the layer and turn on alpha lock. So we can add a little bit of a gradient. Let's also duplicate this layer first. Let's slide to the left, tap duplicate. Then this top layer that we'll use for a little gradient with the soft brush under airbrushing. And for the color, we'll grab this one. Second color in the third row. The opacity of the brush is still at 70%. Let's set the size to 15. And then let's add a little bit of this gray to the right side. Then for our paper effect, we will move this layer. So select the bottom one, then go to the Move and Transform tool and tap upward a few times to get a little edge. Then for our shadow, we need to duplicate this layer again, slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the bottom one, then grab that sixth color in the first row again, then back to the layer, tap it, and then use fill layer. And now we need to turn off alpha lock again. Then let's go to the magic wand, use Gaussian blur, slide to the right to 8%, then go to the Move and Transform tool and move this downward and to the right. And then I want to blur it again by going to the magic wand and using motion blur. And then drag this diagonally. Something like this. Then make sure to go to the layer menu, tap the N and set this to multiply. And now we can put these three layers in a group. So select all three of them, then tap group, close the group. And then let's duplicate it by sliding to the left, tap duplicate, then go to the Move and Transform tool. And while you have it set to uniform, you can move this around and place these clouds in different areas. Let's go to the bottom one. I want this one to be a little bit smaller over here. Then let's duplicate this again, slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the Move and Transform tool. And let's place one over here. And then another one. Let's duplicate this again by sliding to the left, tap duplicate, go to the Move and Transform tool, and we'll place the small one over here. You can also set it to freeform if you want it to be a bit more flat. I think this looks nice. Then tap the arrow again to get out of here. And then for our final effect, we need to duplicate our top layer. We'll slide to the left, tap duplicate, go to the bottom layer and drag that dark color on top of it. Then go back to the layer, tap the N, set it to multiply. And now we need to blur this layer. Let's go to the magic wand, to Gaussian blur, slide to the right. Let's go for 13%. We can always go higher. Let's go to the Move and Transform tool and move it downward and to the right. I think this looks perfect. And now we have the real paper cutout effect. Let's tap the arrow and let's admire our work. You did really great. You should be proud of yourself. Don't forget to share your results, and then I'm hoping to see you for the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.